Tom Johnson along with our mayor, Sue Kempf. Sue, great to see you.
Great to see you, Tom.
I missed you last week.
I know. Well, we're back.
I know it's just like I get to the middle of the week and I'm thinking like, oh, got to talk to Sue, and then all of a sudden, it's the one week we decided to take a pass on it. But it's good to be
Yeah.
back with you. So you had a meeting this week
Yep.
on the artist live workspaces.
hmm
I took a look at that and everything. Why don't you bring us up to date on what happened?
Right. So we have there's two significant parcels in the canyon. They're not next to each other, they're not adjacent, but they're very close in proximity. And those parcels were owned by a gentleman for many years, and he passed away. His heirs are interested in selling those properties now. And we have a lot of artists that have studios or also, live work situations out there. And one of our goals, one of our council goals is to retain our artists in town and to work on artist live work because we want to make sure that we hold our standing as an arts community because that's how we were founded and that's how we want to be known. So anyway, to that end, we had a meeting last night to talk about the fact that we are negotiating on those properties. The details I can't. We're talking about those in closed session, but there will be some diligence performed on those properties if we enter into a contract. And that would be like environmental, do building inspections, while do an appraisal and a number of other things. We talked about, Dave Kiff mentioned those yesterday. But the goal is to, when we came away with kind of two things, one is looking at, an all cash offer, and then also looking at the possibility and funding opportunities, and also the possibility of having it not owned by the city, but by an LLC, which is probably our preference to have somebody else own it. There is a community land trust that's being set up, and those are for the purposes of the community to donate. And so the idea there would be once we get that in place, which is a little bit convoluted, there's some tax stuff. It takes 7 or 8 months to get the land trust legally in place because you also have to deal with the feds. And as we know, the feds are kind of tied up with a lot of, whatever they're
Yeah, they're
doing
tied up.
whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
So the idea would be, at some point that those properties are purchased and they would be at some point moving into the land trust, and
Okay.
the land trust would make payments. And the
Now, is
people,
that land trust something that people would donate into for tax purposes and stuff?
I think so. I think so. I don't know the legalities. That's why Bob's working on that part. But Mark Orgill is the primary guy on this, and he's done a great job
Nice.
so far trying to get us in a position to do that. So anyway, more to come on that. We just aired it out with the community yesterday, and there's still more work to come. I think we're going to talk about it again
Was
on.
it a positive reception?
I think overall pretty positive. Yeah, I mean pretty positive. Um, it was just so important to the artists in town. And there were people who came to the meeting who are artists who don't have studios there but are in support. So, I mean, I think overall the community will be supportive of us. We just need to structure it in the right way, which we will do.
Well, it's always hard when you get a community that has done so well from a financial standpoint on real estate and everything like Laguna Beach has, and then you want to appeal to the artist community and the cost to do that, they're not really in line with each other. So that's really good thing to be looking at.
Yep,
Hey,
agreed.
lots going on around town. I mean a lot. Not only from a holiday perspective of things coming and everything like that, but the sports at Main Beach and things like that. Why don't you talk about everything that's going on?
Well, I think one of the most important things that's going on, I'm going to be cutting the ribbon tomorrow, is the Sawdust has their winter festival, and it runs from December 22nd or November 22nd to December 22nd. So, and it's really beautiful. They do a really great job, and I hope people, particularly residents, go and buy gifts for the holidays and go see all these different offerings that we'll get to see. Santa will be there at the winter festival. So it's just a great festival that we have every winter, and it kind of puts us in the mood for the holidays. So there's that, and locals get in free on Fridays. People should remember that. And then also Friday we have the Laguna Beach Open Volleyball Tournament, which we've been doing since what the 1955 or something like that. And I'm hoping, I was looking at the weather forecast. There's so far a 25% chance of rain on Saturday because we may get the very tail end of that bomb cyclone that's it's making its way through California. But I'm hoping it doesn't, and we may get a little rain there. It's supposed to rain for sure on Monday. So anyway, bring a chair if you can make it down there. I always go. I'm a volleyball player myself. I love it. And then they have the Battle of the Beaches, the local people. So they'll have their little tournament too. So anyway, it's gonna be great. And then we
Nothing
have
like beach volleyball.
oh the best, right? The
Uh,
best. And then we have a beach cleanup on Saturday, and the chamber and Ritual Refill and Laguna Ocean Foundation are sponsoring that. That's going to be at Aliso Beach at 10. So I'm going to make my way down there. The city does a pretty good job of keeping the beaches clean. We'll probably see that again on Saturday. But it's not that it's a lot harder in the summertime. So we need to make sure we do this in the summer too on
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah. Well, you got to
Yeah.
stay on top of that kind of stuff, or it
Yep.
gets away from you, and then it's hard to get it back once that does.
And it winds up in the ocean. We don't
Yep,
want that.
yep.
We don't want
Gosh,
that.
and if you ever, and I'm sure a lot of people in Laguna have, if you ever study all the stuff that's in the ocean, the problems that we have, we need to be doing everything we can to prevent that from getting worse. Anyway, coming up some exciting times in December. One of the not so exciting times is the reign of our mayor is coming to
Mm-hmm.
a close.
Mm-hmm.
That might
Yeah.
be good for you. Are you going to have more to do? So let me ask you a question. Will you have more time when you're not mayor compared to when you are mayor?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So how much does your life change on that?
It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot more work than people realize. And it's mostly fun. It's mostly fun, but we had a rough summer and I worked really hard over the summer because we had all those visitor impacts. And so we had a lot of, we were busy talking to the media and trying to figure out what's the best approach for next summer. But it's great to be out in the community. You meet a lot of people. I've met a lot of people since I've been on council, but particularly when you're the mayor.
Yeah,
And you can work just as hard as you want when you're mayor, or you can work less, but there's a lot of requests for your time. And
sure.
that's the thing is for me, my point of view is, if I'm asked and I can do it, I'll definitely help out. And for me, when I have a job, I'm all in. I give it my all. And so when
Hey,
I'm
you've
back to
done a
being,
great job.
thank you. But when I'm back as a council member, I'm going to work hard being my council member. So,
Yeah. Well, good. So let's talk about that. On Monday, December 9th, there's a special meeting of City
right,
Council. Talk
right.
about what that is, and then kind of segue in the next night on Tuesday, December 10th, is another council meeting. So tell us what the goal of both of those are and who will be sitting at the dais and everything like that.
Right. So we are going to have on Monday, the 9th, what I would call more of a ceremonial meeting where the current council has to certify the election results. After we certify, then we will swear in Hallie as a new council member and Bob as a returning, and
Okay.
they will be then seated. And then we will elect the new mayor and the mayor pro tem. And we may do council assignments that night too. That doesn't take very long, but like what council members or liaisons to what organization or function. We may do that. So the reason we kind of carved that off is, and I've gone through this myself because I was elected in 2018, and we've had people newly elected, since then who've never served on a committee or any significant discretionary committees or anything like that. And it's a little bit daunting. So you get sworn in. So the old process is you get sworn in and then you're just sitting on the dais and then you're in a full blown meeting. It's kind of a shock. So we just took that part off so that people's families could come, they could take photographs, a little bit of a celebratory time for the new members or the returning members. And that kind of separates out from the rest of the meeting because on the 10th, we have a full blown council meeting. And so I
New
think,
council.
yeah, new council, full blown new council meeting. So, and we have a lot on the agenda, so we'll be busy. So I think that way it's just a better way to handle it.
And that will be the final meeting of the year.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the plan.
Well, that's great. Sue, it's always great catching up with you. Did you get out to the Coast Film and Music Festival at all?
No, we had a medical issue in our house
Okay.
last week. Everything's okay, but
Well, I hope everything's okay.
I was taking care of that. Yep.
I don't know. I jumped into a couple of things, and it looked like Ben Warner and the gang put on a good show. So it's nice to see all the people involved.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
can't wait to talk to Ben Warner about how that all went.
yeah, great
Yep.
catching up with you.
Yep.
And I'll talk to you next week.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.